Good morning, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. If you could please grab a seat. There are many open chairs up front, so please do not be shy. Feel free to come up front and hang out with us. Before we get started, I think we need to go with a safety announcement, please.
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day. Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions.
All right. Thank you all so much for being here, and thank you for bearing us. We're running a little bit behind schedule. I know we've had a tough morning. There's a lot of parenting issues that are happening behind scenes. The governor's got Jano on hold back there, so he should come out and greet us. I know that he wants to, but that may or may not happen. Nonetheless, today's not about Jano or anyone else or anyone here on 20. Today is about you all who make this work happen every day in and day out. You all are the sheroes and the heroes that make us proud to say that we work at the MTA, that make us proud to say that we move millions of people every day. And I have the honor and privilege of saying that I am the first Chief Accessibility Officer here at the MTA, ensuring that we have an agenda for accessibility that's woven across the entire organization. And that's why if you look around, we have people from all different areas of the MTA. We have people from headquarters, from the railroads, Metro North and Long Island Railroad, Staten Island, and of course New York City Transit, representing the best of what we have to offer and who we are. As many of you know, because you work with my team, I have an amazing team. So I would ask if you just indulge me in giving them a hand because they do an amazing work. Thank you so much to my team for the work that you did to put this event together. I know that it took a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations with folks throughout the entire organization, but it's an amazing day for us to come together and celebrate some of the folks around the agency who we've partnered with throughout the year to work on this agenda for accessibility. Listen, we've been really successful in my first goal when I got here 3.5 years ago, which was to dismantle the expectation of this group and the idea that accessibility was synonymous with disabilities. Now we know that accessibility includes our aging New Yorkers, over 1.5 million New Yorkers over the age of 65, very few of whom would ever allow anyone to call them disabled or a New Yorker with a disability, but all of whom benefit from the work that we do every day by having ramps on our buses that you do not need to have a wheelchair to get that ramp deployed. Our subways initiatives that keep enhancing what accessibility looks like in there, the railroads in which we're continuing to redefine accessibility every day. Everyone benefits from our work on accessibility. In addition to our aging New Yorkers, our tourists. And last year we saw over 62 million tourists come into New York City, a lot of them with luggage coming through Sutphin and our train stations there. And very few of them were able to get through that turnstile with a luggage. But we are making that more easy for them, and they're coming through with grace. You know, some of the folks that we are celebrating today are not here presently because they are currently in France, looking at potential new products to help us redefine accessibility in the fair array. Those new turnstiles of the future that this team started a conversation with. Well, now we are looking for the best product in the world to have that out in the streets. So it really takes a village, and for me, I am so proud to be the facilitator of this conversation. It takes a village for people to show that this matters, not only in our group here at HQ, but throughout all of your organizations. That's why that's why today we're celebrating amazing leaders, partners, heroes, and innovators throughout the organization that help us make this work a reality day in and day out, every day. So thank you so much for being here. You'll be hearing from me throughout the day. I'd like to call up our next speaker, who is the most important person in this building, a guy that moves over 4 million people every day with a staff of over 50,000 people. It is my pleasure to introduce my brother, my friend, Demetrius Crinslaw, Acting Vice President of Transit.
What an introduction, huh? Thank you, Q. Good morning, all. I'm happy to be here. You guys hear me pretty well? We good? All right. Happy to be here. The reality is, for too long, public institutions were inaccessible to many, and our mass transit system was no different. When I accepted the position as interim president for New York City Transit, I made it clear that safety and service would be priorities for us to deliver upon. But we're not just here to maintain equipment, to move equipment. We move people. And get people where they need to be is part of our essence, right? So our system only works if we're providing an accessible system for people to use it. Running top-notch service is only of true value if people have access to it. Providing reliable transportation options to those who truly need it is a core asset for us when we're delivering upon safety and service. There is no service if people can't use it. Now, I know we've inherited a system over a century old that was not made with accessibility in mind. So it takes work to get us to where we need to be. So I'm also very grateful for the folks that are here, the folks at New York City Transit and the MTA more broadly, who have played a huge part in making accessibility a reality here. Their efforts are amazing on this front. One example that I'll speak to is that of C&D and E&E. We're proud of the progress that they've made in installing elevators and making the system more accessible. But our system is no joke. There is no more difficult place to install an elevator than New York City. There is no more difficult place to maintain an elevator than New York City. Yet, with the opening of Metropolitan Avenue and Lorimer, we're up to 151 stations with elevators that are fully accessible. That's intentional. That's effort. And it's not coming from the hands of just a few. It's coming from the hands of many who work together to make sure that they embrace the same change of culture that we're speaking about. That number, 151, is not just a number. That represents opportunity. That's really about opening the doors for New Yorkers who didn't have access at that location. We're talking about hundreds of new riders that didn't have an accessible station prior to. And for the roughly 300 elevators that are currently installed now, the team has done an amazing job of making sure that they're in service regularly. 96.5% for 2023 was their goal, and they met it with no issues for New York City Transit. This year will be even better. My friend Q always talks about accessibility is so much more than just elevators. right? It's more than that. It's efforts across many fronts. Another example of this journey can be talked about when we talk about the install of the first wide-aisle gate. I was a senior vice president when we announced that we were going to do our first wide-aisle gate. That right there is setting transit history. And it's the start of many, many more to come. We also installed a number of station accessibility enhancements like boarding area decals, Navilins, and tactile braille line maps. Our partners on the buses side as well, they were cranking, doing stuff, reimagining how buses can better serve our customers by designing new configurations for wheelchair priority seating, adding additional flip-up seats, and adding dedicated spaces for caregivers with open strollers. Paratransit recently acquired 360 new buses to replace vehicles that have reached the end of their life cycle. That's as Accessoride starts to hit numbers that it's never hit before, delivering to customers far more than what we've done in the past. So, the employees receiving special recognition today, I want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you. You're coming to work every day and it means something. You're doing meaningful work for people who generally don't have a voice. You're doing meaningful work. I want you to know that I see the good work, the folks around this room see the good work, and our customers feel the good work. So thank you for what you do, and I wish that you continue success as you continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Demetrius. If I could call up my friend, colleague, and my Dominican sister, Lizette Camilo, to the podium. Lizette is one of the quiet storms here on 20, here in headquarters. She's a quiet storm because she makes it all happen. Jano talks about the fact that the MTA is like the air and blood of the city of New York. Well, that is Lizette for the MTA. She's our chief administrative officer who makes it all happen. She's also, among the many things, she oversees the People Tower, and this event is in partnership with People. So, Lizette, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Q, and thank you all for inviting me to say a few words. I love that I'm the quiet storm. I feel like I need to have my own radio show. Isn't that the name of a DJ? But thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. It's such a pleasure being here with all of you, honoring our outstanding MTA employees who have worked so hard to make our transit system more accessible to all of our customers. I'm going to keep my remarks very brief so that we can focus on the real reason why we're all here, which is honoring 38 MTA employees whose work truly embodies the value of providing services to everyone, regardless of their abilities. Now, we're here not just to celebrate the wonderfully talented 38 employees, but really to honor their incredible dedication, hard work, and innovative spirit. Our achievements as an organization are a direct reflection of the commitment to excellence and relentless pursuit of making improvements in accessibility for all of our riders. Now, today we honor employees who are leaders and who developed and executed new projects and initiatives that expanded the way that we serve our customers, like the folks who are working on improving the wide-aisle gates that Demetrius just mentioned and the upcoming gates of the future to make sure that accessibility is front and center in the customer experience. We celebrate our partners, those who make sure that everyone at the MTA is thinking about accessibility and the work they do, all through this agency, up and down, and east and west. Like the employees working on customer engagement to help identify areas within the MTA to help improve customer experience from an accessibility perspective. We honor the heroes who work every day to ensure that every customer has a safe journey, no matter who they are, and who go above and beyond to make sure that the needs of every customer are met every day, like the conductor who helped a customer with a disability board a train and make sure that they got to their destination safely. And we honor innovators who pioneer new technology and other creative solutions for customer accessibility, like the team working on the e-hail phases and online scheduling. I'm so proud to be a part of this agency whose core values include increasing accessibility across our systems to make sure that we are as inclusive as possible for all of our customers. And that work doesn't just happen by chance, right? I mean, it starts at the leadership levels. Our chair, Jenna Lieber, very much views accessibility as part and parcel of this agency's core value and mission. Every agency president includes this in their core values and mission statement, so it's very much a part of our DNA. But the heavy lift of implementing these programs and policies, as Demetrius mentioned, really happens every single day by MTA employees throughout this agency. And it happens by hard work and dedication that all of today's honorees do every day. And I want to say thank you to all. It's very much a big part of our culture and our mission, and we are all very appreciative. So with that, let's get the celebration started. I want to toss it over to our Chief Accessibility Officer, my friend and Dominican brother, Camel Arroyo, to continue on with the ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lizette. Next, we're calling up an amazing partner for accessibility, our friend and sister Shanifa Riera, our Chief Customer Experience Officer, who helps us bring that voice of the customer to everything that we do here at headquarters and ensure that everyone through all areas of the organization is thinking not only of their work, but of how their work has a direct impact to our customers. Millions of people writing our systems every day, and it is Shanifa who ensures that their experiences are at the center of everything that we do. So with that, Shanifa, thank you so much for being here.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I know it's Monday, but it's still a good morning. I'm honored, Q, thank you for the invitation to be here today as we celebrate Disability Pride Month. It is essential that we continue to recognize that it is, as Demetrius has mentioned, as well as Lizette, that, accessible transportation is key. And we need to strive every day for inclusion because that's what it really comes down to. Transportation is not about just getting from one place to the next. We really need to harp on equity, inclusion, and independence, and that is what everyone expects from us. Far too long, individual faces barriers accessing our transportation services, and I am honored to work side my brother Q, because it is a family, as we've heard today, and the accessibility team, who has made tremendous strides, whether keeping accessibility at the forefront every day, whether it is publicly at committee and board meetings and meeting with advocates and the things that we don't see. So I commend Q and his team for their tireless work. But there is still a lot of work that remains ahead of us. So we must continue to advocate for policies, initiatives, prioritize access, ensuring that our customers get real-time information. We heard about some of the capital improvement, whether they're more ramps, elevators, or even expanding accessoride service to cater to those diverse needs. Accessibility is not only a legal obligation, but it reflects our moral values. So, again, congratulations to all of those who are honored. And Q, I look forward to continue with our days, years, months ahead of us as we, continue to strive again for equity and inclusion. So for that, I would like to bring up another fearless leader, and Raf, who will present and bestow some of the leadership awards, which is a great tribute. So Raf, come on up.
Good morning, everybody. My brother Q. I figured I'll continue with the notion. So I'll be very brief. I'm here to present the Accessibility Awards to amazing MTA employees. And before I do that, I'm literally going to take 30 seconds. Maybe I'll go off script. I want to share a quick story with everybody. So imagine a situation where there's an old couple. Both of them are not native to the United States. The man is quadriplegic. They have to go to medical appointments. They have to coordinate their lives. They call the call center. They're on hold for hours. They go to the appointment. They have to dispatch a vehicle, and then they have to wait another 2 hours for the vehicle to come back. That family is, that couple is my parents, right? Unfortunately, some of you may know, some of you do know, but my dad became quadriplegic, and they live outside of New York City. And I will tell you that the experience that they're going through, compared to the experience that we have here in New York City, is day and night. And someone who lives with that every single day, I applaud Dimitris, Chris, you, Rachel, for the work that you guys do every day. I'm a Chief Technology Officer here at the MTA. And at the end of the day, it is about service, it is about elevators, it is about accessibility. But we also live in a world where technology plays more and more critical roles in being able to help our public to be serviced the way they are. We have less than 30-second call wait times at the paratransit call center. Because we partner with Shanifa's team, Rachel's team, Chris really was the one who helped us through this to install the modern system. Our team who's working on the MTA app every single day discusses what do we need to do in terms of accessibility. So I want to make sure that my message is also clear. We are making sure that technology is embedded in the fabric of everything we do, including our accessibility and the partners that we support. So thank you for all the partnerships. Thank you for bringing us to the table. And now I'm going to move forward to the awards. With that, the first award goes to Brian Saltz from Long Island Railroad. And Brian is attending. Thank you very much. That's great.
Would you mind lining up over there? We're going to take a photo. Oh, okay. Hey, Rob, let me just say, to all the award recipients, you're going to come up, grab your certificate, grab your trophy, and line up in front of the shoot and repeat. We're going to take a photo at the end as a group. So thank you, Rob.
Very good. I'm going to keep moving because I went off script a little bit. Jennifer Barry from Metro North Railroad. Here. Yes. Let's do it this way. Let's do it here. Next award goes to Paul Whitworth from headquarters. Next award goes to Sam Wong from New York City Transit. Yeah. I'm going to add my brother, Sam Wong. Next award goes to Kathy Lee. And Kathy is not here, so Steve Lohr is going to accept the award on her behalf. I don't know if Steve is here. Okay. Next award goes to Chantal Cabrera, and the award is going to be accepted by Lisa Schreibman. And last, Stephen Carson from New York City Transit, and the award is going to be accepted by Jim Compton. Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys, that was the first category for our leaders. If I can ask Jim, Lisa, Ralph, and Kathy Lee's not here, but our president from CND is here. If you could all join us for this photo. Thank you to our leaders in this category. Jim. Okay, thank you all for our first category, leaders. We are now going to call up Jamie Torres-Springer, president from CND, to give some remarks and introduce Allison DeSereno for our next category. We will be presenting our partners in accessibility. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Really happy to be here. Great haircut, Q, for the event. I just walked in, so I don't know if that joke has been made already. I want to celebrate, before we get into the awards, the partnership between C&D and the accessibility team, but really it speaks to the partnership across all of the different offices and entities and agencies of the MTA. This enhanced focus of ours on accessibility as a driver of the future of our system. It's not just about serving people with disabilities, although that is enough reason for us to make all these changes that we're making to the system on their own, but we're enabling everyone to use our system in the future. We're driving the modernization of our system, and we talk about it a lot at C&D as we undertake these capital projects. We're even using accessibility as the opportunity to achieve state of good repair across all of our systems and in our stations, and this is a huge opportunity for us. So I'm really proud that we're a part of this partnership for accessibility. The most visible part of our work that we're doing is the addition of features like elevators and ramps at stations, but there's so much happening behind the scenes that you don't see as we're doing this work that these awardees help bring to life. For instance, making a station accessible is not just about plopping an elevator into a hole in the ground. That actually ends up being about 10% of the total project cost for an ADA accessible station. It's really the last step in a long process that takes into account improvements from the street all the way to the edges of the platform and everywhere in between. These 12 honorees that Allison is about to provide the awards for exemplify the collaboration and the dedication that it takes to meet the truly unprecedented pace that we're on and the high standards that we've set for ourselves for accessibility as we move forward. From customer experience and market research teams that help inform our planning stages, all the way through to the E&E team that works hand in hand with us at the very difficult end stages of our projects, making elevators accessible and doing so much else across the whole system. This group really keeps our ambitious accessibility projects alive and invigorates them. The expertise that each of these honorees brings to their agency has allowed us to improve our processes and deliver better projects and do it more efficiently than ever. So I'm really proud to be able to stand here and recognize these awardees. And with that, I want to call up Dr. Allison DeSereno to provide the awards.
Got to take this down a little bit. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here today to recognize those who have done so much here at MTA to foster accessibility for our customers. As the mother of a young man with severe developmental delay and motor and health challenges, I'm well aware of the importance of accessibility, both to help people to get to where they need to go, and in many ways, more importantly, for them to be included in the broader community. But it was really an early experience when I was Deputy General Manager at the Port Authority Bus Terminal that instilled in me the need for a more inclusive approach, as we often think we understand challenges only to find that our needs are very different than the needs of others. Specifically, I was doing a regular morning walkthrough in the bus terminal when I saw a gentleman at the bottom of one of the escalators with a white cane, turning first one way and then to the other. I waited a moment to make sure that he wasn't just trying to get his bearings, and it became clear he was lost. I walked over and introduced myself, because it was at the bus terminal, so you definitely introduce yourself when you're walking over to people. I introduced myself as the Deputy General Manager and asked if he needed assistance. And he explained to me that he had gotten off the bus and done what he always does, counting out his steps to come down the escalator, but he thought that he wasn't in the right place because there was no noise. And I thought for a moment, wow, I never really had understood at that point how much the noise and the sound was as important. I explained to him that there'd been a stoppage in the Lincoln Tunnel, so we had no people in the bus terminal, but he was in the right place. And I asked him if he would like some assistance and offered my arm if he wanted to, for me to help him to get to where he needed to go. He accepted, and as we walked down the hall, we were chatting about the different experiences. And I mentioned that we had moved recently this giant kiosk that had been in the middle of the terminal in order to improve mobility for people. At which point he said, I understand that, but that's actually made it harder for me. And I asked why, and he said, because I had been using that kiosk to count the steps to the escalator, which was the escalator down to the subway. So I helped him on his way, got him to the escalator safely, went right back and spoke to my folks about what we had done, and while we thought we were improving it for some people, we'd actually made it more difficult for others. I brought that experience not just from the bus terminal, where we did meet with a nonprofit group shortly thereafter, and then met with different groups to see what we needed to do. But it was one of the things that I brought here with the hopes that once we launched that big project that's been paused, that we would also reach out to the communities for the various disabilities and motor issues to make sure that we weren't moving things that people had been using to count or navigate around. With these examples in mind, I'm so proud to be part of an agency and partnered with a team here that thinks so broadly about accessibility, which is really, again, as I said, another word for inclusivity. Today's partners are being honored for a wide range of efforts, from customer engagement for those in need of accessible solutions, to developing a program for toll exemptions, which one day, when we're done with the pause, will be the first to do this, for those who cannot drive themselves, to making sure we can procure the types of services needed as quickly as possible. The sometimes unsung heroes behind the scenes, they are helping make MTA's accessibility vision a reality. And with that, we will start with Chris Blucher. I'll call up Zulema Robinson. Naomi Naboa. Patrick Scalise. Robert Thompson. Sunny Zheng. Tina Kang. TJ Clark. Weiming Liang. Teo Davis. The award will be accepted by Zafira Latif. Oh, never mind. Please come on up. Teo Davis. Cara Girl. All right, the award will be accepted by Lisa Daglian. And Anna Scotto. The award will be accepted by Thomas Nespecco.
All right, guys, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a photo. Dr. Serena, if you would join us. Jamie, let's take this photo and give it up one more time for our partners in accessibility. All right, thank you all so much. We now have a brief video from one of our board members and a great friend and partner of ours, Dr. J.R. Rizzo, who is unfortunately on travel with his family and couldn't be here today, but he did want to give some remarks. After the video, we're going to go ahead and have a small break, about 7 or so minutes for us to stretch, maybe take a bio break, grab some coffee, and get back into it. So with that, Dr. Rizzo.
For those who don't know me, my name is J.R. Rizzo, and I am a physician scientist and leader at NYU Langone Health. I also have the privilege of serving on the board of directors for the MTA. I regret not being able to join you in person today, but I want to express my sincere appreciation for your dedication and willingness to go above and beyond, ensuring that every rider has their needs met. Today, we honor your pivotal role in making our complex transportation network as inclusive and accessible as possible. The MTA's commitment to accessibility begins with our workforce, whose dedication is shaping a culture with inclusion non-pareil across our agency. The significant strides in accessibility include continuous improvements in multimodal interface design and enhanced bus, subway, and rail accessibility, making our stations easier to navigate for customers with disabilities, parents with strollers, or tourists with luggage. These forward-thinking approaches reflect our ongoing commitment to serving every member of our community. Innovative projects like wide aisle gates, replacing auto gates, provide better accessibility for people who have trouble using turnstiles while deterring fare evasion. Exploring new innovative digital technologies like Navilens and Navilens Go, free smartphone apps that translate visual information into accessible formats and translate media in over 30 languages, or tools to better communicate elevator outages. These impressive advances demonstrate your dedication to going above and beyond the ADA mandates and basic compliance, striving for inclusive excellence in a system that is more accessible than any other in the world. Our customers receive exceptional service thanks to your extraordinary efforts. Your contributions are invaluable and deeply appreciated. Together, we are making a profound impact on those we serve across the system so that any customer, no matter their disabilities or access needs, can safely and comfortably travel throughout the MTA region. Thank you once again for your unwavering commitment, and congratulations to our awardees.
Thanks again, Dr. Rizzo. We will be back in about 8 minutes. Thank you, everyone. like those bells. Like, ding, 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 ding. Yes, I'm gonna do that right now. I was gonna wait for the at the end. Just a quick reminder for awardees, award recipients, we have boxes for your crystals in the back. So please feel free to grab a box before you leave, and you can safely carry your mementos with you. Thank you so much. All right, moving along, we are back with our next category, our heroes. You heard from me earlier today, it is you all, what I call our sheroes and our heroes that get us through every day, moving folks, doing it with grace, with a smile, and really, except for Carl. Carl doesn't always do that up here. But he's just our head of safety. Thank you. Give it up for Carl. Thank you, Carl, for all you do. Really getting us through the day. So there's so many heroes. We could be here all day, but there's some that really stood out this past year, working on some new ways for us to enhance the customer experience and really showing their dedication and unwavering support to our mission here at the MTA. And for that, we have some amazing speakers lined up. We will start with my friend, my brother, Chris Pangilinan. And just a little side note on Chris, it took me about 6 months to convince Chris to quit Uber and come work for us at the MTA, because there is no better mission, there is no better place than the MTA to deliver the work that we do for millions of folks. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to have you here. He started out as the Vice President for Paratransit, and today we are honored to have him as the Chief of Operations Planning, Chris Pangilinan.
Good morning, everybody. I didn't realize my family tree was expanding so fast here, but thank you, Q, for the great introduction. So it is an honor to be here today to speak to our Accessibility Awards ceremony and to be in the company of our well-deserving awardees. Accessibility is obviously personal for me, having grown up with cerebral palsy and using a mobility device for my whole life. And as we celebrate the 34th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, it is wonderful that we are taking this moment to recognize the impact that this landmark law had on people with disabilities. But we also must recognize that a law on its own does not itself make change. Rather, it is the people dedicated to the cause, the leaders, partners, heroes, and innovators. In short, the people here in this room and throughout the MTA that work on accessibility and make the change possible. On a warm July day in 1990, President George H.W. Bush declared, 3 weeks ago, we celebrated our nation's independence. Today, we're here to rejoice in and celebrate another Independence Day, one that is long overdue. With today's signing of the landmark Americans for Disabilities Act, every man, woman, and child with a disability can now pass through once closed doors into a bright new era of equality, independence, and freedom. Those once closed doors that the president mentioned in 1990 refer to the physical and social barriers that were in place and put independence out of reach for nearly all people with disabilities. However, here at the MTA, we're working very hard to pry those doors open wider and wider with each passing year. And your work here in breaking down those barriers, either by helping customers with disabilities use our bus, subway, or rail network, helping our Access-a-Ride customers have a wonderful experience on their rides, or building and maintaining our ramps, elevators, and escalators, and a number of other activities, your work ensures that the dream of independence is available to more and more people. So, as a colleague of yours, I'm proud to be here with you, and I commend you for all of your work. And as a New Yorker with a disability, I am grateful for all that you have done, all that you continue to do, to enable folks like me live their fullest lives right here in the greatest city in the world. So thank you, and I'm going to bring up Lisa Schreibman to announce the awards. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I want to just reflect on a local historical truth and a personal historical truth. The local historical truth is that if you had come to New York City in 1870, there would have been about 1 million people living here. the vast majority of those people would have lived below Canal Street. The vast majority of those people would have lived in buildings no taller than 6 stories. And there are 2 technologies more than any other that make New York City the city we now know, and those are the elevator and the subway. And in their own ways, they allowed the city to grow up and out. And it is some irony that they didn't actually get together until a very short time ago, relatively speaking. My grandmother emigrated to New York City, and then she moved to DC, and then she came back because my mother lived here. And she came back in her late 70s, and she lived in Flushing, and my mother lived on the Upper West Side. And my grandmother was a woman of boundless energies and talents. And in her late 70s and early 80s, she decided the thing that she could do to help my mother out most was to cook. And so imagine my grandmother came up to about here on me. My grandmother would load a granny cart with all sorts of things, like twice a month. And she would go downstairs, she would get on a bus, she would go to Flushing Main Street, she would go down 2 flights of stairs at Flushing Main Street, she would take the 7 train into Times Square, she would go up 2 flights of steps with her granny cart, she would get on the number 1 train, she would take that uptown to 86th Street where she would go up another flight of stairs, walk 3 blocks, go to my mother's place, and then return, this time granny cart unloaded. And in her late 80s, she couldn't do it anymore. And if she were alive today, she would be like 120, so that would be unusual. But she would, on that trip, have not had to have the 2 steps up on the bus. She would not have had to do the stairs at Main Street. And she could have gone to 96th Street, and she would not have had the stairs at Times Square. And she could have gone to 96th Street, which would have added 2 blocks to her trip. And she could have done that all with elevators. So we have come a long way in how this city allows its people to get around. And I have the great honor today of reading out some names who are in the heroes category. And generally speaking, when we think of heroes, and since we're in New York City and I'm reflecting on the tall buildings, you know, we think about Spider-Man and so on, like swinging from place to place. But the other part of being a hero is knowing to do something before you're asked to do it, getting it done, and it all coming out well at the end. And so with that, I want to read out 5 names who fall into that category. The first is Linda Katz. The second person is Chris-Ann Fabio. The third is John LaBlanca. The fourth is Clara Hackett, and her award will be accepted by Janice McKenzie. And the last is Caroline Kim. And her award will be accepted by Nate Gilbertson. Thank you. Right, sorry. And with that, I am introducing Frank Annacaro, Senior Vice President of Buses.
all these sisters and brothers and cheeros and heroes. I'm proud to be here with you all. So good morning, and Q, thank you so much for the critical leadership you and your team provide here in the MTA with accessibility. It's an honor to be here today to announce 7 heroes in accessibility. Accessibility is a core mission in operations. A 2019 study conducted by the United States Department of Transportation showed that approximately 26 million Americans have self-reported travel-limiting disabilities. This means when public transportation is not accessible, it can disqualify millions from contributing to our communities, creating meaningful connections, and accessing essential services. And I'm proud to say for buses, the little equity engine that could, our bus fleet has been 100% accessible since 1993, over 30 years ago. In fact, we were the first large public transportation agency to have 100% accessible bus fleet. Since then, we continue to make significant strides to making our buses universally available. I'll name just a few. Today, we have over 1,000 buses with wider doors and ramps, and over 4,700 buses with digital information screens, and all new buses are being delivered with these accessibility items. Last year, we expanded our open stroller program to upwards 1,000 buses on over 57 bus routes. Also in 2023, as will be recognized here, the MTA launched a pilot for customers who use wheelchairs to test a new automated wheelchair securement system on our buses. And recently, we introduced ACE, our automated camera enforcement system, which, among other things, it is intended to keep vehicles from blocking our bus stops. This helps ensure that buses can pull to the curb and allow all customers to safely exit and board our buses. The successes of all our accessibility efforts is fundamentally thanks to the efforts of our amazing team and many of these honorees. And now I want to personally thank each of the honorees for your tremendous efforts and impacts on accessibility. And I will start by announcing the first, Chad Tomulson. Please come up. Next, Carlos Acevedo, please. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Sons and daughters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Carlos.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you. That's all right.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thanks. Next, Marcel Dixon. And now Samson Omninude, but this award will be accepted by Diane McFarlane today. Next is Shan Green. The award will be accepted by Jim Compton. The next award is for Jumel Hill, and this award will be accepted by Safira Latif. And last but not least, Angelica Nicole Lopez, and this award will be accepted by Nate Gilbertson. Were you not aware of that? Okay.
If we could have the previous group also come up and join us for a larger photo, the folks with Lisa and others who just got called up, Chris. If you could also join us for, and give it up one last time for our heroes in transit. Thank you so much. Okay, home stretch. To bring it home, it takes a village to do the work that we do here. And I cannot fathom what it must be like to be the chief of external relations and also the one person who is in charge of being the right-hand person of our chair and CEO, Jen Oliver. Folks, it is my pleasure to introduce Jen McCarthy for some remarks. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. So good to see everyone. First of all, thanks, Q, for having me here. I always look forward to this event because it's something we can be so proud of. And I really appreciate all the work you do and your team, so thank you so much. And I just want to touch on a couple of things. And one of the reasons I wanted to speak is, for so many of us, this is personal. And for me, I just want to talk briefly about when I was a kid, my older brother was in high school, and he used to commute from Jackson Heights in Queens into Manhattan with me to go to Regis High School. And I would go to St. Ignatius Grammar School, which was across the street. And we'd come each day on the subway, and it was just a wonderful bonding opportunity for us. Well, during high school, he got sick, and he lost his ability to walk. And since then, he's used a wheelchair. And I have seen over the last few decades how much more he can do as we grow our accessibility. He never stopped using mass transit to get around the city. He stayed in the city. He doesn't drive. And so I see him take the bus, the subways, and over the last few years, I've seen how he can go to more places more frequently. So for me, this is very personal. I think it's for everyone in this room, this is personal. So I just want everyone to understand that everything we do has an impact on others, and it's felt by others. So, we're recognizing folks here today, but this is every day. Everybody who is working at the MTA is moving people. It's making it more accessible. So thank you so much for what you do, and keep up the good work, because like my brother Patrick, there are people out there who depend on this. So with that, I will quickly move on. And I was just in a meeting with the chair, and we're dealing with the next capital program, and he's tied up in that. But a big part of that, Q, as you know, is getting more accessibility. So we're going to keep fighting this fall, because this is a big time. 25 to 29 capital program, more accessibility. We need to make sure that happens. So with that, I am introducing my good friend, Rachel Cohen. Oh, there you are, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, John. Good morning, everybody. So good to see so many friends, brothers, sisters, comrades in arms here this morning. I think it is really fitting that we present here together today. As many of you know, I recently came from the accessibility team, moved over to paratransit, and I think the partnership between our Access-a-Ride staff, so many of the folks here in the room today, and MTA Accessibility and all of you in this room really reflects what we're trying to do, right, as one MTA, really moving the ball forward and shaping a new vision of what an accessible transit system looks like that allows people to move between all these modes and all these choices to get where they need to go in their everyday lives. And I think that's a good introduction for this category, which is our accessibility innovators. So innovation is defined as the process of bringing about new ideas, methods, products, services, or solutions that have significant positive impact and value. And at least when I think of innovation, right, I first thought about technology, using new cutting edge technology systems or data analytics tools to come up with new insights. And that's part of what our innovators are doing. We see this with the work that Sakil Khan and Access-a-Ride is doing, building new dashboards. Sunil Nair and the bus's technology teams work on DIS. And Doug Newman and the digital communications teams work getting messages out to our customers more quickly. But innovation is also about different ways of thinking. How do we break down silos and collaborate across the MTA to get to our shared goals? How can we manage change to improve our customer experience and make our operation more efficient? And all of the people in this category really exemplify that willingness to use new ideas and new ways of thinking for positive impact. We have two honorees from Access-a-Ride, Joseph and Lewis, who helped roll out a new system for our call center just a few months ago. And we're serving tens of thousands of people every day, and we're doing it more quickly and giving them a better experience. I'm really honored that all the people in this category, whether they work for Access-a-Ride or not, are people that I've personally worked closely with. And I think that they all share a perspective of looking to solve problems and break down problems. The things we do every day at this agency are complicated, but they're not impossible most of the time. When we work together, we can break down these problems into smaller parts and work toward solutions, like the accessibility team is doing with Matt and with Tyler, to understand the actual impacts of these new wide fare gates that we keep talking about, and how we can better understand fare payment data in our system in general. So all of our innovators are using new tools and using the tools we have more effectively to understand what our customers want and need and how we can build a better MTA for all of us. And it's through that understanding that we work to make our system better for all of us every day. And with that, the awardees in the Accessibility Innovators category are Doug Newman, Joseph Calajari, Louis Lugo, Matt Yari, Tyler Bluewell, Sunil Nair, I think being accepted by Diane Ariano or Zafira Latif. And Sakil Khan, Do we have Danielle in the house? No. How about being accepted by Simone Harvard from Accessorize? Thank you.
All right, let's give it up one more time for our innovators. Thank you. And if I could trouble John McCarthy to come with us for this last photo, and then we'll come right back for some closing remarks. Thank you all. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been amazing. I'd like to introduce our Chief Diversity Officer, someone that I am so proud to share the work on diversity, my Latina, Puerto Rican sister, Lourdes Zapata.
Thank you, Q. I come from a small family, so it's really awesome to have all these siblings now. I want to thank you and your team, congratulate all of the awardees for your amazing work. You know, if you're a native New Yorker, as I am, you have a long history with the New York City transit system, from remembering when the fare was 50 cents, and now I'm dating myself, to being probably, to the 1980 subway strike that lasted 12 days. I don't know if folks remember that, and the whole city shut down and really put a cramp on my social life. To being one of the last folks that, transitioned from tokens to the Metro card, because I didn't want the man, which in this case would be Demetrius, to know where I was going on the subway. You know, I thought it was a grand conspiracy that my mother put in so that she would know where I was on the subway. But I have a long history with New York City Transit, and so it really is a full circle moment for me to be able to come back and work for this incredible institution. As the Chief Diversity Officer, DEI is not just a gender and race-based initiative. As Demetrius said, accessibility is more than just about elevators. Diversity is more than just about the way we look. DEI is always looked at as through the lens of race and gender, and it's just so much more than that. Early in my career, I had the opportunity to work for a nonprofit law firm, which was very focused on supporting the passage of the ADA, as Chris mentioned earlier today. And given the current political climate that we all find ourselves in, I thought it was really interesting to think and kind of reflect back on what we were facing when we were working on ADA, the passage of the ADA, which, if you read the New York City tabloids, there were actually cartoons that were published where they did this like mile-long ramp up the Empire State Building and how this was going to impact the landscape of New York City, the passage of this law. The companies and the corporations and the business groups that opposed the ADA, saying that it would impose all this cost on our businesses. There was testimony before Congress that the act had the potential to deprive millions of people of affordable intercity public transportation and thousands of rural communities of their only link to the outside world. This is what the ADA was going to affect in our city. The cost was going to be enormous. It was going to have a disastrous impact on small businesses. It was a disaster for small businesses across the board. It was an expensive headache for millions. This was the critique that the ADA, the passage of the ADA, was getting at the time. And obviously, here we are some 30 years later and have seen that none of that has actually come to pass. Now the ADA is recognized as the foundation of improved access to public services and accessibility, not just in the built environment, but a society societal understanding of what disability is. And let's remember, again, as has been said earlier today, that when we're talking about disability, we're not just talking about folks that are mobility impaired. And again, one of the reasons why I'm so proud of the work that the MTA is doing is because the MTA doesn't think about it only exclusively through the lens of mobility impairment. We're talking about adjustments to signage and structures for the folks that are visually impaired, the use of audio for technologies for folks that are hearing impaired. So we are very much looking at the needs of New Yorkers through the lens of accessibility and equity and inclusion. So diversity, it's a fact, but inclusion is a choice that we make every day. And as leaders, we put out the message that we have to embrace and not just tolerate diversity. And I think that's one of the many reasons why I'm very proud to be working here at the MTA, incredibly proud to work with all my amazing siblings to advance the need of disability, and certainly very proud to count Q as a key partner to us in DEI. So, Q's work and the work of the accessibility team is the work of diversity and civil rights and our DEI work, as our work is theirs. And I am incredibly honored to be here, committing my support and unwavering support to the work of this accessibility team, and looking forward to seeing more advances in what we are able to do for all New Yorkers. And with that, I will turn over the microphone to my colleague and Acting Chief People Officer, Mercida Ebrick. I'm sorry. My sister from another mister, Mercida Ebrick.
Okay, I'm not, much lower, though. I'm clearly on the shorter side of the family. I'm not going to take up too much time because I saw that there was cake outside, and I happen to like cake. So at first I was wondering why Q asked me to speak, because I'm clearly super bubbly and fun, but no, that's not it. It's because this work that we have been highlighting today is really driven by people, by this organization. People move this organization every day. And John said this earlier, it's very personal. And I believe that because everyone has come up here today and shared a personal story. And it's not just embedded in the organization. You're getting it all the way from the top, right? Everyone here has a story. I grew up in New York City also. My sister has cerebral palsy, has been in a wheelchair for as long as I have can remember. She's over 45 now, and still struggles, with moving around. But the improvements that the city has made and that this organization has made over the last few decades has been incredible, to be able to see that she can be included in our family and in our events the same way as any one of us. And I think that that's an powerful statement in itself. I want to thank you for making sure that we took the time to acknowledge this work, recognize the people who are doing this work every day, and also inspire us all each day to continue to do this work. I hope that you all leave here really feeling connected, really feeling like that there's an impact here, and that we can all continue to be leaders and partners and innovators and heroes in this work. Did I get it all? Okay, good. Because that's not only going to move this organization, but it will also connect us all to the world that we're in today. I also want to take a special moment to not just thank the accessibility team, who has a lot of credit here today, but two members of my team, the people organization, Jelani Ramsey and Ronald LeBird. I hope I said that right. And now, can I say we can eat cake? No? Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Mercida. Listen, folks, this has been an amazing celebration this year. I want to thank you all again for the work that you do every day. We started talking about who is really our MVPs here at the MTA, and that is you. Our employees are our biggest asset, because you are out there every day showing the best of all of us, showing what it is to come to work every day. Our bus operators, listen, Carlos, I met you not too long ago. My heart goes out to you. You are the best that we have here, but also the work that you do is so impactful. I'm out there in Harlem where I live, and we're still experiencing some pass-bys, and I get uptight because in the heat of the summer, in the snowstorm, pass-bys impact us in so many ways, and firsthand how critical it is to show just a little bit of dignity, a little bit of respect, to tell someone that you see them. So many people with disabilities feel invisible, and we make them seen. You make them seen. The investments that John alluded to earlier, we are investing billions of dollars to accessibility, because the only way that New York continues to be the greatest city in the world is if we continue to provide access to independence for everyone who comes here. The tourists who come here are aging New Yorkers, to whom I want to say, forget about Florida and the Carolinas. You need a kayak to live there these days. Stay in New York, in the communities that you help build. Well, we can only say that if we give them access to transportation, which is access to independence. So thank you all for joining us. There is cake outside, my favorite cake from Meringue French Bakery. It is amazing. Please help yourselves. Have some more coffee, and thank you all for joining us. Cheers.